Do you feel like you're spinning your wheels, just stuck where you are and you don't know where you're heading, or you feel like you're not heading anywhere? Maybe you set goals before and only to just leave those goals, just to abandon them and leave them high and dry halfway through the year. Or maybe you didn't even make it halfway through the year. If that's you, don't feel bad. I've been there too, and I know plenty of people that have been there. But there is one key skill that I'm going to share with you today that when you master this skill, and it doesn't really take a whole lot for you to do that, to master it. But when you do that, it can help you break free from the cloudiness, from the fog, and finally take control of your life. That skill is clarity. And in today's episode, I'm going to show you how to gain it, how to use it to take charge of your life in 2025. Welcome to my Success Coach podcast. I'm your host, Brian Robinson, and I'm here to help you create a clear vision for your future. And I'm here to help you take focused action so that you can achieve anything that you want in your personal and professional life. Now, I love my job because what I do know is when I help you get clear and I help you take focused action and you go and grow and take charge of your personal and professional life and your business, you start feeling joy and you start loving life again and you start showing up grateful and all the good things, right? And when you do that, you make this world a better place. So I am giving you these tips so that you can show up to make the world a better place, and this world that you share with people like me and a lot of other great people out there becomes better. And that's what I get to do, is help you do that. So I love my job. Before we dive in, let me ask you this. Did you know that according to a recent study, and I read quite a few studies to make sure that I give you some really good, accurate information. And these studies, the numbers were about a couple percent away from what I'm going to tell you, but mostly the the studies that I've read told me that around 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. Only 8%. Around 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions, right? So that's telling me that there's a lot of people that get discouraged. And one of the main reasons for this is lack of clarity. People are chasing goals that don't align with what they truly want. And let me tell you, I've been there. And when you're chasing goals that don't align with what you truly want, you start losing focus of those goals. Something else comes in and distracts you from those goals. You lose track of those goals and you just show up discouraged. You're not really as grateful as you can be, or maybe you're not grateful at all. And all of a sudden, happiness and joy starts to fade, right? And when you show up in life, you're not showing up as 100% you, because you don't feel you feel like you've wasted time, or you feel like, you're stuck, or you feel like you don't really know where you're going, right? So that's not a good feeling to have. And our confidence gets low. I've been there, but also where I am now, which is why I'm sharing this with you. Stephen Covey once said, the key is in not spending time, but investing in it, investing in time, right? And the best investment that you can make is getting clear on what you really want. When you do that, you start using your time a lot better. You start showing up grateful. You start showing up encouraged, and you encourage other people, and you start getting things done, and your confidence just goes through the roof. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about, one, why clarity is the foundation for success. Two, I'm going to give you a step-by-step process to gain clarity in your personal and professional life. And three, we're going to talk about how to align your actions with your vision to finally take charge of your life. 2025 is around the corner. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with actionable steps to make 2025 your breakthrough year. So let's go ahead and jump into why clarity is the foundation for success. Imagine you're trying to build a house without a blueprint. You might get something built, but chances are it won't look or function the way that you think a house should function. Life works the same way. Without a clear blueprint, you'll end up just wandering all over the place. You end up frustrated and unfulfilled. And then going back to that blueprint example, when you do have a blueprint and you do see how your house is supposed to look like, or what you want it to look like when you see it on paper, it allows you to start asking questions about other things to make it better. Like, where does electricity, how's that routed? And maybe we should put electricity in before the drywall goes up. Maybe we can put, some HDMI cables in there so that we can plug things in into the wall and we don't have cables running all over the house. Maybe we can get a network put in before the drywall goes up. Maybe we can get plumbing routed a certain way for efficiency. All that stuff becomes things that you can talk about because you have a blueprint sitting in front of you and you can start getting more detailed. That's clarity, right? Clarity helps you identify what truly matters to you. It helps you also filter out distractions and focus on what moves the needle. It also helps you make confident decisions that align with your values. So think about this. Have you ever set a goal just because it sounded good or because someone else expected you to do that goal? Well, how did that work out for you? Without clarity, those goals rarely lead to fulfillment. Let's move on to number 2, how to gain clarity in your personal and professional life. So here's a simple 3-step process to gain clarity. Step 1 is to reflect on your past year. Ask yourself, what went well in 2024? What didn't go as planned? What lessons did I learn? Reflections give you insights into patterns and habits and areas of improvement. So when you look at those, and a lot of us we get caught up in our emotions. And when we start looking at them and we start seeing failures, we start getting emotional about it and realize, and we think, oh, I'm such a failure. And you're going to have to kind of take some time for that. That's okay. We're all human, but you got to have to move past that in order to really see some lessons here. And in those lessons, that's what's going to separate you from so that you can go get that joy. That's going to separate how you're feeling right now and to the joyous life that you really want. Give yourself ample time to deal with it. That's okay. But you got to know that you got to get through that so that you can really look at what you need to look at and make corrections from that. Right? So these reflections gives you insights into patterns, habits, and areas of improvement. Step 2, define your core values. Like, what do you stand for? Clarity comes from knowing what you stand for. Spend time identifying your top 3 to 5 core values. And if you need help, just go down to the description of this episode. I have a link there for you to download the free values worksheet that I have available, or you can go to my website, brianrobinson.com, go to free resources, and you can download the values worksheet. I also have a vision worksheet there for you. Examples for values can include things like freedom, family, health, growth. A lot of people will say integrity, loyalty. Those are values that come up when I go out and speak on values, or I have conversations with people about what their personal values are. And believe it or not, don't feel bad if you don't have these written down somewhere. If I speak to 100 people, I know that only 2 or 3 are probably have done this. So it's not a common thing. Probably about 3% of people actually will do this. All right. Know your values. Step 3 is envision your ideal future. Close your eyes and imagine that it's December 31st, 2025. What does that feel like? What does your life look like? How do you feel when you think about what your life's going to look like that time? Write down this vision in as much detail as possible. And I want to empower you. I want to inspire you and empower you to challenge yourself. Like, if there's something you really want, why not create a vision for it? Create a vision for it. Put it down there and watch what happens. This exercise creates a powerful mental picture that acts as a roadmap for your goals. This really works. This is why I have a coaching business that is as successful as it is. And it's going to get even more successful in the future because I visualized it. Number 3 is align your actions with your vision. Now that you have clarity, it's time to turn it into action. So here's how you do that. Here's how you turn your vision into action. Break down your vision into goals. So take your big vision, the big detailed vision, and you can prioritize the things that are super important out of those details, right? And one of the things I like to do with my clients is we'll go out as far as they want to go out. But man, if a client will go out 10 years, because that's what I do, I go out 10 years with my vision. But if they'll go out 10 years, I'll push them to go up 10 years. If they want to go out further, that's okay too. 10 years, then we back up to 5 years. So we create the 10-year vision, then we come back to 5 years. And then we're like, if you're going to be there in 10 years, where must you be in 5 years? Right? You got to be somewhere in 5 years. And then if you're going to be there in 5 years, where you got to be in 2 years in order to get there in 5 years. Then if you're going to be there in 2 years, where you got to be in 1 year. Then where you got to be in 6 months to be there in 1 year so that you're there in 5 years and then in 10 years. Well, if you're there in 1 year, where you got to be in 6 months and 3 months. So now you have a roadmap that will take you forward. So break down your vision into goals. Take your big vision, turn into smaller actionable steps. And that becomes the thing that every night you write down what you need to do for the next day. You wake up the next day, you know where you're going. That's one less thing that you have to be concerned about when you wake up. You can start thinking about things you're grateful for. You wake up, become grateful. You got your roadmap right there, things you got to do today. Sometimes life's going to throw a curveball. That's okay. That happens to everyone. When it does, swing at that curveball, do whatever you got to do, and it's gonna go away. It's gonna pass. Then you get back on to your vision, onto your goals, onto your roadmap. An example is if your vision includes improving your health, set specific goals like exercising 3 times a week or meal prepping on Sundays. And to get more detailed into this, 3 times a week, what days are you going to work out? How long is your workout going to be? What is your workout going to consist of? Like, what's your goal for health? Is it muscle building? Is it toning? Is it looking a certain way? If there's someone who, whether famous or not, but someone that you want to kind of look like, that's okay too. That can be your model for where you want to go. You could use that as a vision for what you want to look like. And then what is your identity? How you need to show up in order to look like that, right? So what is your exercise goal? What do you have to do in your exercise? You're going to show up at the gym at 6 a.m. You're going to work out for 1 hour. Those are the details that go into your vision. Then meal prepping. So what does meal prepping look like for you? And when do you meal prep? Like what types of meats, if you eat meat, what type of meats are you gonna cook over the 6 or 7 days of meal prepping? Next is create daily habits. And I gotta stress that consistency is key. Small intentional actions every day add up over time. They really do. Then next is evaluate and adjust regularly. Life happens and plans may need to be tweaked. It's okay. Plans need to be tweaked, but just know this, you can't tweak something that hasn't been laid out, right? So when you lay your plans out, it's okay if they need to be adjusted, but at least they're there for you to adjust. Next is schedule monthly check-ins with yourself to assess progress and realign if you need to. One tool that I recommend to kickstart this process is actually one of my free resources, the Life Plan Checklist. Now, this checklist is a framework designed to help you organize your thoughts, help you clarify your goals, and build the life that you've dreamed of. And it's a checklist to help you think through all those things. If you're ready to take this to the next level and take the next step in building your best year yet and your best life, here's what I want you to do. Click the link in this episode description to download the Life Plan Checklist. The other links are also below that, links to the values worksheet, the vision worksheet, but definitely start with the Life Plan Checklist. That one will help you out tremendously. You also can join the Unstoppable email community where you'll get weekly insights, tips, and inspiration to keep you on track. And I want to invite you to consider coaching with me. Whether you need clarity, accountability, or strategy, I'm here to help you create a life that you love. Because what happens when you do that? You show up better in the world, you make the world a better place. And I also live in this world too. And if you're making it a better place, you're helping me out. Remember, clarity isn't just about knowing what you want. It's about taking action to make that a reality. So until next time, keep finding your path.